Hello and welcome to your NARSA weekly update for the week commencing Monday, the 30th of March 2026. This is the last one in March and then we're into Q2, as they say, and that's when the real business starts for us in earnest with this last 7-game run that we have. It's going to be very, very exciting. It's Gary here again. Thank you very much, as always, for taking the time to join me. It's been a wee bit of a lull this last week. You know, I don't like the international breaks because I'm not a huge fan of international football. Looking forward to the World Cup and the Euros and such like that as they come along, but it just disrupts Rangers' rhythm. But it also gives me a wee opportunity to breathe and to convalesce a wee bit and give myself an opportunity to kind of start missing the club again, start missing the team again a wee bit, and that's exactly where I'm at right now as I record here fairly early on a Monday morning, early-ish for me anyway. That's 9:48 a.m. and I had an aborted meeting there at work, so I decided to use this time to get the podcast done a wee bit earlier today. Hopefully it will be in your inbox a wee bit earlier. So with no domestic football to look forward to, I think what we should really do is maybe get a wee bit of an announcement for other Rangers Football Club legends. So I will get to that in the convention update. Got a couple of announcements to give you today. So really, really thrilled and delighted to be able to do that for you. You know, I was actually I can't even remember where I heard this. It must have been the Heart and Hand Network because I don't really listen to anyone else. And we have 14 players away in international duty, or for international duty right now. And the teams are Scotland, Belgium, Nigeria, Finland, North Macedonia, Albania, Wales, Canada, Portugal, England, and Burkina Faso as well. Forgive me if I pronounced that one wrong at the end there, and that's quite the list, isn't it? You know, we've always had international footballers, even back in the day when we were down in the lower leagues, we were still in some way a wee bit involved in the international scene. It didn't go completely away that I can recall anyway, but to have 14 and that big wide array, actually that vast breadth of countries there, I think that's a really good advert for anyone, especially when you look at some of the potentials for people getting their debuts in a Rangers shirt. You know, for example, that would be obviously Manny Fernandez would be the latest one for that. There's might be other ones there. Forgive me if I don't know that either. But yeah, a good advert for us to be able to say your international career doesn't stop when you get here. Look at Nico Raskin as a perfect example as well. He looks like a shoe-in for the Belgian squad as they approach the World Cup as well. So, I mean, the main thing from my perspective is that they come back fit and healthy. There was something along the lines of a wee bit of a miscommunication or some sort of chat around Eric Cornelius and the fact that he's missed the last 20 plus games, almost 30 games, I guess it is, for Rangers, and because he got injured in one of the previous international games, and then he's back playing international football again. And I was chatting with Hammy, one of the guys in the club there on the weekend, and just basically say, well, I mean, maybe he's not getting a look in, and he's, you know, I mean, I guess you might be a wee bit upset about maybe not getting some bench time or something like that. I didn't know that he was so close to being fit, quite frankly. But if he's desperate to go to the World Cup and desperate to go and play for his country and such, and you know, he's not getting domestic games for us, then that's a thing. I understand that they have to manage that, but you know, we have a central defence that are playing very well right now. And who would have thought we would have said this 6 months ago that Manny Fernandez and Giga are our two mainstays who are just rock solid at the back. What a season we're having right now. So yeah, good for them. Good for everyone for getting what their efforts and endeavours and talents and skills, of course, have given them the benefit of doing, which is playing for their country. So yeah, just come back fit, boys. We've got 7 more games to get this organised, and then hopefully we have a very beautiful, shiny trophy to wave into all of our faces come June time at the NARSA 2026 event. So what we do know in terms of international games, I don't think there's anything from any of the teams that we have that are meaningful. You know, obviously with Wales going out, Northern Ireland going out, and such. I'm just looking at the list here now. I don't think there's any places up for grabs, so to speak. So we've got Bosnia versus Italy, and we've got Gennaro Gattuso, or Rino Gattuso, is obviously the Italian manager there, so that's a thing that we can keep a wee eye on. The Czech Republic versus Denmark, and that's then followed by Kosovo versus Turkey and Sweden versus Poland. Nothing really super exciting there, but some intriguing games, I think. So that's going to be quite interesting to see what that looks like. And you know what? Another thing I was looking at, I always talk about when I'm doing the week, what would you call it? The Gers guide. I was going to say the weekly wrap. The weekly wrap is a newsletter I used to do for my business. But when I was looking at the Gers guide and the loan review, and I always just mention the loan review. They do a loan review every Tuesday, and it's a wee list. And last week, because it was a bit of a slow news week, I was looking at the loan review, and I kind of forgot about some of these players, quite honestly. You know, we've got Leon King, Oscar Cortez, Jose Cifuentes, Clinton Enciala, Lyle Cameron, Ross McCausland, and Finlay Curtis, not to mention others that are doing some stuff in the lower leagues as well. And that's a lot of wages, isn't it? That is a lot of money that Rangers will be paying the Lions' share of their wages in there. And of course, Cortez and Cifuentes, you know, never really did anything for us, quite frankly. And Cortez couldn't keep himself fit. Cifuentes was just a bad signing. It was a Michael Beale type thing, you know, where he talked him up and then didn't really have a clue how to play him and such, and didn't really seem to do his homework. But you never know in terms of Lyle Cameron, whether he's got a future at the club, whether he comes back from Aberdeen. Finlay Curtis, we have high hopes for. Congratulations to him, of course. He got his first cap for Scotland on the weekend there as they got beat by Japan. You know, Steve Clarke's record, you know, I mean, he qualifies for the major tournaments, but in terms of his overall record, I have to imagine, and again, I don't pay too much attention, folks, but I have to imagine it has to be one of the worst records in terms of like overall wins and such like that, or lack of. And obviously it's a pre-season game per, you know, like if you can look at it like that. But even then, you're still looking to try, and winning is a habit, and so is losing. And I don't know, we'll need to see what happens. Haiti, that's got a wee bit of a banana skin feel to it, so we'll see about that. But in terms of the actual players that we have available to us that might come back, you just never know. You never know what these loan spells will do for them, and hopefully that's something that's maybe going to be a wee bit of a light at the end of the tunnel for us, with certainly some of those players returning for next week. So in terms of the games, obviously nothing happened from a men's game perspective. I'll get to the women's game in a wee bit here. It's not good listening, folks, I'm afraid. But our next game is on Saturday. Now, here's the big thing for us on Saturday. If we win that game, we go top of the league. And I did ask last week, the last time that we're top of the league, and no one got in touch. So I don't know if anybody knows. I did chat GPT it just before. I typically don't use chat GPT, but the browser was open and I just thought I'll go into that. And I asked, and it didn't do any good. You know, it just kept telling me. It says maybe the most likely time was the 15th of February. I think that was around about the time we beat Hearts 4-2. And we didn't go top of the league. Of course, we haven't been top of the league, so I'm not sure when that was. But it's kind of monumental to do it with 6 games to go. So we need to take care of Dundee United, and they'll be on a wee bit of a crest of a wave after beating that mob from the East End just prior to the international break as well there. So we're in good shape. We're back to the same time difference now in North America as it typically is for the majority of the year. The springtime, there's always 2 or 3 week lag there. So I'm back to 7 hours, Eastern Time's back to 5 hours, and the West Coast is back to 8 hours of a time difference. Massive game for us. We really, really want to do well. As you know, the next game we have after that is a very early game the following Sunday against Falkirk, and then it's down to the split, and then we'll see. And just a reminder, I mentioned last week, in terms of the split, April 25th, 26th, then you've got May the 2nd and the 3rd, and then May the 9th and 10th. These are all weekend ones, and then the penultimate round is the 12th or 13th midweek, and then the final games are on the 16th for the top 6. So it's getting exciting. It really is getting exciting. And I don't know if it's just because we've had a week off or something like that, but I'm actually fairly confident. Honestly, folks, I don't have any fears that I'm going to have a meltdown. There's going to be twists and turns. I don't think we're going to win all 7 games. we might not have to win all 7 games. I have this notion, I have this vision in my head that we're going to win it in the second last game, and I don't know why. I've just got this vision, so I should maybe book that time off and the next day off as well, work, just in case, you never know, and see how that goes. But yeah, in terms of shout outs for this week, I actually missed this one last week. I didn't realise this was the case, but Super Jack Butland, I'm going to give him the super moniker back here for just today. He had his 150th appearance for us in the last game there. That we had, so that's a lot of games, so congratulations and well done to Jack there. I mean, he had a ropey spell last season. Barry Ferguson had to take him out of the team, which ended up being best for him, best for the club as well, but he's a mainstay. He's a very, very good goalkeeper. He's just got these mistakes in him that you kind of like, yeah, okay, but for the most part he's been a great servant to Rangers, so good for him for doing for getting to that milestone, I should say. A bit of a personal one here. We had a birthday party for one of the Rangers Supporters Club of Calgary longest standing members. Neil MacArthur was 60 last Friday, and we got a chance to enjoy a party at Neil's place on Friday night. Ended up being a wee bit of a late one. And then we had another birthday party for my nephew's son, what would that be, my great nephew Hudson, on Saturday afternoon. So it was a bit of a boozy weekend there that kind of becomes a wee bit unproductive, or a wee bit less productive for me. But happy birthday, Neil. It was a great night, a brilliant night actually. Some fantastic food, and they had a singer there who was absolutely brilliant. This guy was so good, really, really, really good, this guy at singing. And I can't actually remember who it was. Oh, it was me. I sang Mother Glasgow for him because his lovely wife Claire had asked me to do so. So I did that as well. So that was kind of fun as well. I'm open to appearances if you ever need anyone to sing that song for you, or any other songs that I can maybe put in my repertoire. So in terms of other shout outs, there was an announcement last week. So Club 1872, I mentioned the fact that they've reconstituted the board. Bomber Brown's there with another 3 new entrants along with Ewan McFarlane, and one of the first orders of business that they seem to have taken upon themselves to do was to donate £220,000 to the club, which is ring fenced for a series of heritage projects at Ibrox Stadium. And they said that the investment marks a significant step forward in the club's strengthened relationship with Club 1872 and reflects a shared commitment to preserving and enhancing our history. So I believe there's going to be some work done in and around the main stand, and there's also going to be some digitising of existing hard copy receipts, paraphernalia, bits and pieces. I haven't done too much research on that, but £220,000 is a lot of money there, so it looks like they're kind of diversifying what they originally were set up to do. I think originally they were set up to try and have some fan representation or fan ownership at the board level there, but it kind of hasn't worked out, and they had a wee bit of a sticky spell there for a while, but good to see they're still there. Good to see they're still doing some very good and meaningful work, and maybe that's the lane for them. So congratulations to everyone involved. Another shout out for Amanda and Jason Junior Ross, who are running the London Marathon on behalf of the Royal British Legion. And I did some research yesterday to find out exactly how many times I had to keep saying this. And the London Marathon's on the 26th of April, so I guess that's probably another 3 weeks for sure. And then we'll get to put that one in the history books. In terms of our Nashville 2026 updates, folks, it is 72 days and 10 weeks. It's going to be single digits of weeks next week. Oh my, you know what I'm actually just thinking about right now? I have not booked my flights yet, so I need to get on to that today. Someone hold me accountable for that, please. I need to get on that. I don't want to get dinged, and I certainly don't want to be doing these 2 flight garbage things. My understanding is I can fly straight from Calgary to and from the location, so that's what I want to do. I hate connection flights and such, so especially on the way back. It's just sadder on the way back, isn't it? But yeah, that's the World Cup opening weekend, and we are going to have the World Cup as a feature and make a big deal of the Scotland game against Haiti that I mentioned earlier there on the Saturday night. The hotel is out for booking, as I mentioned last week. It's selling out fast. Tickets are also out for booking if you are waiting. We would encourage you please not to wait any longer and give us an opportunity to know and understand how many people are coming along there. And it's going to be a great time. The hotel are great. There is a meeting with the hotel today. We've got some further conversation. Conversations are basically happening every single day between the organising folks and such. And it's really, really, really it's coming together. It's beginning to feel a lot like NARSA. I think I've said that a few times before, but it's one of these things, you know. I mean, it's 9 weeks next week, just over 2 months, and that's it. And of course, our VIPs from Rangers are going to be Derek Ferguson, Scott Nisbet, David Robertson, Mark Walters, and they are from the 9 in a row era. Of course, our entertainment is going to be Stuart Hay. David Edgar is, of course, our MC. We've got DJ Angry Bear for the filler and the entertainment work on primarily on each of the nights, for there, just to make sure that everything's all ticking along there. And of course, we do have Rebecca Auchterlonie, who's going to be providing some singing entertainment. We are working on some other entertainment options as well. I'll hopefully be in a position to announce that over the next wee while. And one of the highlights, one of the real difference makers, I think, of this particular event is that we do have Rangers historian David Mason there to give us the story of Rangers, and I can't wait for this. This is going to be one of these ones where, honestly, I'm going to feel like a student that day, and I will have my phone or I'll have my notebook and I'll be taking notes and such, because my knowledge of Rangers history prior to my involvement, my active involvement as a fan, is not great at all, and it's not something I'm absolutely proud of. So I'm really, really looking forward to getting to see what sort of stuff he's going to present and see what sort of stuff that I can learn at the same time. And just a reminder also, we do have the Davy Cooper Top Golf Memorial Championship that's going to take place on the Friday, and that's at Top Golf. It's a Top Golf experience. If you need any information about that, you can message narsagolf@gmail.com. That is selling out very, very slow. So not 100% sure if that's actually going to happen or not. If we don't get the numbers, then we can't. So we'll just need to see what that looks like. And I do need to book mine as well. So flights and golf, Gary. Come on, flights and golf. Okay, I promised an announcement today, and we did get confirmation. We actually kind of almost had the confirmation last week, but it wasn't fully official. I wasn't sure if I was able to tell you about that. But from the Rangers Football Club, we have newly appointed Executive Director Fraser Thornton going to be joining us, along with our new CEO, Jim Gillespie. Yep, both of these guys are going to be joining us for the Thursday and Friday night. They're actually going to be taking off literally and figuratively, on the Saturday morning as they head over to, is it Boston, where the Scotland game is? I'm not exactly sure the location, but they're going to be in attendance at the Scotland game. So yeah, we've got our new CEO. I'm really, really looking forward to meeting him. And of course, Fraser Thornton, he joined us in Kissimmee last year and was just great with everybody that he met, and just getting an idea and an understanding of that. One thing we haven't really enjoyed too much from a club representation perspective is continuity. That last time we really had someone from leadership coming along fairly regularly was Stuart Robertson, and that's a wee while back now. So for Fraser to come 2 years in a row really gives us an opportunity for him to see the continuity and for him to bring some information to and for us as well. So with the change in itinerary, with us having the Walter Smith Memorial Grand Banquet on the Friday night rather than the Saturday, the guys are going to get to be able to dine with us as well, and we'll see what that looks like in terms of them imparting information to us through speeches and such like that. So very, very exciting. Fraser is a great guy. I know that for a fact because I got a chance to spend quite a lot of time with him in Kissimmee, and Jim's a CEO, so he must be a great guy as well. And obviously coming from St Mirren, which is obviously from the most beautiful town in Scotland, that's a good thing, I think, overall. So yeah, Fraser Thornton and Jim Gillespie are going to be joining us. Very, very exciting times. In terms of the communication for this past week here, there is a Gers guide there, and there's an interview today, kind of slow news week. There's an interview today with under-19 player James Reid, who reflects on a weekend win for the under-19s against Kilmarnock, I believe it was. Tomorrow is the loan review. They always do that on a Tuesday, which is fairly consistent. And Wednesday there's going to be international reviews based on all the internationals that took place. And then the Rangers women's team are back in league action this Wednesday, sorry. And that's I think it's an 8 o'clock kickoff over at Broadwood at home against Partick Thistle. And then on Thursday, there's a series that is taking place right now on loan. Rangers, talking about the loanees earlier in the show today. And today they're going to be talking about Paul Ensio in his journey right now. And I can't remember exactly where he is. Is it Wraith Rovers? Maybe something like that. And then on Friday there's a press conference and a training ground segment related to the Dundee United game. Saturday's the Dundee United game, 3 o'clock kickoff at Ibrox, of course. And then there's no women's game this weekend. They actually play away to that mob a week today. And I think it's a 10 past 5 odd time, 10 past 5 kickoff in the UK. So it's time to start picking up the points here. And onto the women's team, I did mention briefly earlier, it wasn't a good day. They had the Sky Sports Cup final yesterday over at Fir Park, and they went down 2-1 to Glasgow City. Glasgow City, I think it was 0-0 at half time. Glasgow City raced into a 2-goal lead, and then Rangers got 1 goal back, a couple of minutes to go, and just couldn't get the equaliser to try and take it into extra time there. So that's a blow. I think the Rangers women's team have won that for the last 3 or 4 years, and this is their first defeat in that competition for many years. So that's not a good thing, but it's just one of these things. These things can happen in cup finals and such. You know, we didn't have our problems to seek in the quarter final a couple of weeks back against that mob. So it's one of these things. So back to the league action. They are still fourth. We are still in fourth position, 5 points behind Glasgow City and 7 games to play. Kind of rings true to where we're at for right now. So that's a big thing. In terms of other communication, you've probably seen the chairman's message that went out last week, and a couple of key messages in there. One of them was talking about a new share issue that's coming out. The other one was talking about this, is it 6 or 6.5% increase on the season ticket prices for this season. I think they'd held the prices for quite some time in previous years. So it's one of these things, and it probably could have been worse there. Another thing that I thought was interesting, where he unequivocally came out and says, we're not hiring a sporting director. We have enough. You know, we're going to keep our leadership team. I think he says lean and mean, sorry, not mean first, lean and mean, and they're all going to dig in and do what they need to do together. So I guess there has to be enough infrastructure there in terms of the existing staff for recruitment and for the various programs that we have there with the kids, with the women's team, with the first team, the men's first team, and such. And that's the thing. And I did like the coined phrase. Our ambitions are clear: sustained winning and winning sustainably. You know, obviously managing within our means is a key part of that, and that's what we're going to see. So it's going to be interesting. The share issue is out there right now. If you're a shareholder, you probably will have received some information from the club. I actually have not, and I'm a shareholder. So I'll need to maybe go check my junk folder in case it went in there, but I'm not in a position to invest anymore anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But I'm just saying that out, I'm just thinking about that out loud now, that I didn't actually receive anything. I didn't see it in my email. So yeah, the chairman's message came out, and it was, I think it was fairly well received. I don't think there was anything too much that was earth-shattering in there. He did reinforce, of course, the independent review into the challenging situations that we experienced after said quarter final, where they encroached on the pitch, and then we did as well, gave them a square goal, battered them, and then sent them homewards to think again. So that was a beauty. But yeah, one of those things that I guess when you have the international break, it's a good opportunity to try and continue connection with the fan group there. One thing I also forgot to mention last week is that Greg Mitchell from the Big Apple Bears in New York City took it upon himself to do a little bit of a pet project, where there used to be a website out there called the Blue Nose Bars, and I think maybe at one point that might have been connected on the Rangers website as well, maybe, and it's not been maintained for a wee while. So I think he just took it upon himself to say, I'm actually going to do this and put it all together. So if you go to rangerspubs.com, and I'll put the link in the show notes for this week, then you'll get to see it, and you just basically go in and you type in the location, and it will give you everything that's in or around that particular location. I think there's going to be some further modifications to it in terms of being able to identify what is an official supporters club versus a pub that you might experience some friendly situations in, versus a sports pub that are just known for putting the games on when they're on, things like that, you know. So you get an opportunity if you go to a city that has multiple locations, say for example, that you would maybe be more inclined to go to a NARSA club versus a non-NARSA club or something along those lines. I'm not exactly 100% sure what the parameters are, but it looks great. It's very slick. I've tried it out with a few different locations, and and it's just a brilliant job. That's Greg's jam in terms of his career and certainly his pet projects and stuff. So well done, Greg. Thank you very much for doing that, and we'll get that linked up there on the show notes, as I say. Just another reminder for Instagram and TikTok, NARSA Comms on both platforms, and of course, please don't forget to like and subscribe on the YouTube channel if you are indeed watching it on the YouTube channel to help us maximise our reach and such. Okay, wee bit of a shorter one this week, my friends, and I'm imagining it won't be the case when we see what this weekend brings us. Just a victory, please, Rangers. Come on, that's all we need. Get back to the top of the league. See how both of the other challengers are going to react on Sunday with not so easy games for both of them. So we're going to have to see what that looks like. But see how they react chasing us for a wee second, because we haven't had the opportunity to be looking down at everybody for quite some time. So we'll need to see what that looks like. So, as always, thank you very, very, very much for taking the time to tune in, and happy Easter when it comes. And here is hoping it is genuinely a definitely brilliant happy Easter for us, with the results going the way that we want them to go this coming weekend. Until next week, please do take care of yourself and all the very best. Okay, follow.